He had one idea that most people in the computer industry missed entirely. Everyone else was building machines. Gates understood that the machine didn't matter. What ran on it did. Software would rule the personal computer revolution, and Microsoft would write the software. His name was Bill Gates, and in the 1990s, his vision had come completely true. William Henry Gates III was born on October 28, 1955, in Seattle, Washington. His father was a prominent attorney. His mother, Mary, was a businesswoman and civic leader who served on corporate boards, including, crucially, the United Way, alongside an IBM executive named John Opel. Gates read his family's entire encyclopedia by age 7 or 8. His family called him Trey, the third. He was competitive, obsessive, and absolutely certain he was the smartest person in any room he entered. At 13, he enrolled at Lakeside, an elite Seattle prep school whose mother's club had used bake sale proceeds to purchase computer time on a GE terminal. Gates was immediately transfixed. He wrote his first program, a tic-tac-toe game, within weeks, then spent every available hour at the machine, often through the night. At Lakeside, Gates met Paul Allen, 2 years older, equally consumed by computers. They were inseparable. Together, they hacked the school's scheduling system, got themselves hired to fix it, and built Trafo Data, a small traffic analysis business. Their friendship and their shared conviction about computing's future would define both their lives. Gates scored 1,590 out of 1,600 on the SAT and enrolled at Harvard in 1973, pre-law at his father's suggestion. Instead, he spent nights in the computer lab. He met Steve Ballmer there, and he waited. The signal came in January 1975. Allen, then working at Honeywell in Boston, walked past a newsstand and saw the cover of Popular Electronics, the MITS Altair 8800, the first personal computer kit. He called Gates. They both understood immediately. The revolution they had been expecting was starting now. Gates called Emmets and told them Microsoft had a working BASIC interpreter for the Altair. They had no such thing. Gates wrote it in 8 weeks, working almost without sleep. When Allen flew to Albuquerque to demonstrate it, the program ran perfectly on the first attempt. MITS licensed it. Gates dropped out of Harvard. He was 19. On April 4, 1975, Microsoft was founded in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to be near its first customer. The name was originally hyphenated, Microsoft. Their product, programming languages for microcomputers. Their belief, every microcomputer in the world would eventually need software, and Microsoft would be the company that provided it. By 1980, Microsoft had 40 employees and $8 million in annual revenue. Then IBM called. IBM was building its first personal computer and needed an operating system. The connection came through Mary Gates. Her United Way board membership had brought her into contact with IBM's CEO, John Opel. IBM first approached Gary Kildall of Digital Research, who owned the dominant CP/M operating system, but that meeting fell through. IBM came back to Microsoft. Microsoft had no operating system. Gates knew that a small Seattle company called Seattle Computer Products had built a CP/M clone called QDOS, the quick and dirty operating system. Microsoft licensed it for $25,000, then bought full rights for $50,000. They adapted it, delivered it to IBM as PC-DOS, and negotiated the deal that changed computing history. The license was non-exclusive. IBM got their operating system. Microsoft retained the right to sell the same OS as MS-DOS to any other PC manufacturer. IBM focused on getting their product to market, agreed without fully grasping what they were giving away. The IBM PC launched on August 12, 1981. It was a runaway success. PC clones flooded the market, from Compaq, Dell, HP, and hundreds of others. Every clone needed MS-DOS. Every copy meant a royalty to Microsoft, A $50,000 acquisition had given Gates the key to the entire PC industry. He understood it before anyone else. Control the operating system, and you control the computer, regardless of who built it. Hardware would commoditize, software would not. In 1986, Microsoft went public at $21 per share. Gates became a billionaire the following year, at age 31, the youngest self-made billionaire in history at the time. Meanwhile, he was building the product that would put Windows on 9 out of 10 computers on Earth. Windows 1.0 launched in 1985 and was widely criticized. Gates kept improving it. Windows 3.0 in 1990 sold 10 million copies in its first 2 years. Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint launched in 1989 for the Mac, then for Windows in 1990, and became the global standard for business software. Then came Windows 95, launched August 24, 1995, with a $300 million marketing campaign and the Rolling Stones' Start Me Up as its theme. Queues formed outside stores overnight. 7 million copies sold in the first 5 weeks. The Start button, the taskbar, the desktop, the interface that an entire generation grew up with. By the mid-1990s, Windows ran on roughly 90% of the world's personal computers. Gates had built what he said he would build, a computer on every desk and in every home, running his software. But Gates was not simply a man who had succeeded. He was a man who competed as though his life depended on it at every moment. In May 1995, he sent an internal memo titled The Internet Tidal Wave, declaring the Internet the most important shift since the IBM PC and pivoting the entire company toward it within months. He bundled Internet Explorer with Windows, rapidly seizing the browser market from Netscape. It was a masterclass in recognizing a paradigm shift and moving fast. It was also what brought the United States government to his door. In 1998, the Department of Justice and 20 states sued Microsoft for monopolistic practices, arguing that Microsoft used its Windows dominance to force PC makers to bundle Internet Explorer and exclude competing software. A judge ordered Microsoft broken up in 2000. The appeals court reversed the breakup in 2001, but upheld the monopoly finding. Microsoft settled in 2001. Gates had won, and in winning had crossed lines that cost him dearly in reputation, and in the years of management attention, the case consumed. On January 13, 2000, Gates resigned as Microsoft's CEO. He handed the reins to Steve Ballmer, then gradually stepped back from the company he had built from a dorm room idea into the most powerful software business in history. He was going to do something he considered more important. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, co-founded with his then-wife in 2000, became the world's largest private charitable foundation. Its focus: global health, vaccines, polio eradication, malaria, education, poverty. By the end of 2023, the foundation had distributed over $77 billion in lifetime grants. In 2006, Warren Buffett pledged the majority of his fortune to the foundation, the largest charitable gift in history. In 2025, Gates committed to donating 99% of his remaining wealth, then valued at approximately $107 billion. He said his model was Andrew Carnegie's gospel of wealth, the obligation of the wealthy to use their fortunes for the public good. Gates was living it. But where Carnegie built libraries, Gates is trying to eradicate diseases, while he is still alive to see whether it worked. What did Bill Gates actually build? 4 things that will outlast everything he made. First, he put software at the center of the computer revolution and proved that a company that builds nothing physical can be the most valuable in the world. Second, he built the platform that the entire PC software industry ran on. Windows wasn't just a product, it was infrastructure. And Gates proved that whoever controls the infrastructure controls the industry. Third, he demonstrated the platform business model, where each additional user makes the product more valuable for every other user. Every great platform company since has followed this template. Fourth, he raised the ambition of modern philanthropy and through the Giving Pledge, mobilized hundreds of billions of dollars from other billionaires toward problems that governments alone cannot solve. 3 lessons. First, find the layer that won't commoditize. Hardware raced to the bottom, software didn't. Gates found the one layer in the technology stack that held its value as everything else got cheaper. In every industry, that layer exists. The person who identifies it first wins. Second, the non-exclusive clause is always worth fighting for. One sentence in the IBM contract built Microsoft's empire. Gates understood that being IBM's exclusive supplier trapped him. Being everyone's supplier made him unstoppable. Read the contract, negotiate the clause. Third, the second career can matter more than the first. Gates left one of the most powerful positions in business to spend his wealth fighting malaria and polio. He applied the same rigor, the same intensity. What you do with success matters as much as how you achieve it. He bought the operating system that built his empire for $50,000. He is giving away $100 billion to fight disease and poverty. The same mind, the same rigor. 2 completely different problems. Thank you for joining us for episode 20. Our next episode is Gary Kildall, the man who wrote the operating system that Gates needed, missed the IBM meeting, and lost the future. Until then, stay curious.